So recently, a friend and I had a discussion on what makes true fulfillment. Like, what will give you true fulfillment in life? And there's almost a spectrum, which is on one end, it's wanting nothing, and on the other end, it's achieving everything. So you can be fulfilled, like some monks are fulfilled by wanting nothing. Like, genuinely, their entire spiritual practice is the ability to just separate themselves from their environment and genuinely not want anything, like any of the worldly desires, like money, fame, sex, all those things, they genuinely deep down feel like they don't need. And on the other hand, you have people that achieve all these things, all these worldly desires. And then you have the people in the middle who try to achieve these things, but on the surface, they deny it, say, oh, money's not that important, or they try and downplay it. And what I realized from this discussion is that if you're in the middle, you're probably the most miserable because you're wanting to play a game, but you don't want to admit that you're playing the game. And so you're doing this on the other side of the spectrum, but the words that are coming out of your mouth and the thoughts that you're having are on the other side. And so there's a mismatch between the thoughts you're having and the actions that you are taking. And so you end up not living like a genuine life because the actions you're taking are not aligned with the thoughts that you have. And so that got me thinking, okay, well, which one would I pick? Which one would I lean more towards? Wanting nothing, honestly, a lot of respect for people that can do that, because that is something that I find very hard to do, to genuinely not want anything, to not want any of the worldly successes. And that, well, I guess that just leaves the other option. Like, does that mean I have to achieve everything? And I was thinking about this because it was definitely quite interesting, right? Because to openly admit that you want to achieve like money, fame, or all these things, it seems like a very taboo thing. Like, people don't usually outrightly say these things. But I was recently watching a podcast by Naval Ravikant and Chris Williamson, and Naval mentioned the idea of you have to play the game in order to be free of the game. And the game we're talking about here is the game of capitalism, the game of worldly success. Oftentimes, if you're kind of like me, you're always like curious to know what it would feel like to achieve those things. And I don't want to be hypocritical. Like, I don't want to say money doesn't matter when I don't have any money. I personally am not the type of person that can make that statement and genuinely believe that. Now, I do agree that money doesn't matter, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to try and beat the game first in order to prove that. So that's kind of my thoughts. My goal right now is just trying to beat the game as quickly as possible to be free from it. Because I know deep down inside money is not going to make me happy. But I also know that not achieving that is always going to leave that open loop inside of me that is always going to wonder, what if I did achieve that? And the thing is, it's not that unreasonable in the sense that the goals that I have, financial goals, it's not out of this world. For example, it's not making like millions and millions per year, right? So it's within a reasonable threshold. And from that, it's still possible to achieve the things that I want to achieve. So I just want to share that thought in case you're going through something similar, because we're told that you shouldn't follow these worldly desires, chasing money, fame, all of that. But oftentimes it may actually be the more productive thing to do. And sometimes you want to achieve those things very quickly so you never have to think about achieving them ever again, and you will never be a slave to that. And you might be thinking, okay, but what if I achieve it and then I always want more? Yes, there's always going to be that. And at that stage, perhaps a different mentality is needed. But just going from zero to that stage where you're financially free, you have location freedom, you have freedom of choice. Once you get up to that stage, you have a different set of skills, experiences to be able to make that decision going forward. And it's what I find online is you see all these people that say that as soon as you become rich, your life sucks. You become depressed. And the thing is, I feel like part of that is just cope. There are plenty of rich millionaires out there. There's plenty of sad millionaires out there. There's plenty of happy broke people. There's plenty of sad broke people. The thing is, money or achieving all these like worldly things has nothing to do with your sense of happiness. That always comes with it. It has nothing to do with that success. So that's a completely separate discussion. So I just want to share these thoughts about the idea of wanting nothing or the idea of trying to achieve everything. And it seems like I'm leaning towards the side of trying to achieve everything as soon as possible, so I don't have to achieve anything and I can want nothing in the end. So that's kind of my thoughts. Keen to hear what you think in the comments below.